Hello, um, this is the mAhmba. Not sure how the lighting's picking that up. Version V2. As you can see, have the juice bottle here. Just turn it, insert it back in, give it a couple twists. Battery compartment, 18650. Insert it, clips in, cover snaps on, and that's basically it. Little feed tube, I moved to the back of the unit to the other side to better protect it. I don't know if you can catch that liquid traveling up and down. Try and move it up and down the tube there. Anyway, the paint job on this one is, I messed it all up, so I have to repaint it, but as this is just my everyday, this is going to just be my everyday unit. I'm not in a rush for it. I'll get to it. It'll look a lot better next time around. Uses a 510 Addy. That's by preference. You could put any atomizer you want on there. The connector is for 510. I do have to modify the connector somewhat when I make them, and I'll show you why later. But I'm sure with experimentation I could make it with a 901 connector, no problem, but the 510 is what I have to work with. So that's what we're using. The mouthpiece, there was a question on the board about that. Yeah, I just after debating it and going back and forth, weighing my options, I just decided to go with just modifying a standard. If I have one handy, a standard cart, 510 cart. Cutting it down, trimming it on both ends, and then just putting a small hole in it for the little bent brass tube, the fang. Nothing fancy, just clips right on the end there, and that's it. Multiple reasons for that. They're cheap, they're accessible, anybody can do it. If you're going to lose any part of this thing, it's going to be the end, or something's going to, if you're going to misplace it or just want to replace it, because they do get crapped out eventually. It's something that you can do yourself. You just have to take a sharp needle and wiggle it through the side, and then fit the hook in there, and you're good to go. I mean, you make it in a tight enough hole, it's leak proof. I've used it. This is the one I had on my original mAhmba. I've been using this particular tip for probably over 2 months now, and it's getting near being replaced, but I'm still going strong on it. A little rundown. On the original, here I have. This is almost embarrassing. This is the original. As you can see, it has suffered some damage. I was at work one day, and I drive a truck, and it took about a 6-foot header when I was getting out of the truck straight down to the pavement, hit the end, and just blasted it like an eggshell. And I've been piecing it back together with super glue ever since. It was originally made out of total plastic, top and bottom. The top was 2 PVC elbows glued end to end basically, and shaped, and then glued onto the cap. Battery terminals, I don't know if you can see that, but there's actually the bottom one, this is the positive on the bottom. There's a wire that runs up the sides, actually on this both sides, behind this rod that's ground down on here. And the original, also in the pictures that you might have seen of it, had two buttons on the side. And those buttons were to slide the liquid bottle out to make it accessible to change, and when it hit the pavement, one of them went flying. I never found it, and so I just took them both off, and because I only have to replace the liquid in about once every 2 days. I top it off every day, but now I've been doing this for the past few months since this happened. Putting it on, and you simply, and that was it. After doing that for a while, I realized, you know what, that's a pain in the ass, and it's more parts to break, more parts to lose. It's over-engineered, and it's more complicated than what it needs to be. That's why I decided just to open up the sides. They're tapered in here so that you can really get your fingers in there, and now you just spin it out. A lot easier. The top to the bottle is inset in the tube and held in place with a rubber O-ring. It is removable. I thought I was going to have to glue it in to place, but it turns out that it's tight enough that the O-ring will hold it stably in there without spinning. Of course, you're not cranking the bottle tight, you just have to make it snug. So now it's totally removable. You can basically, this whole unit will come apart in pieces that you can be, if you're semi technically able, you can take this apart and service it yourself, no problem. This button itself is it. It's not really the switch. That's just the button. It's nice and big. You can wear gloves, even work gloves. I've used this at work with work gloves on, or even driving gloves. Because of the larger area here now too, it's much easier to actually use any finger you want to squeeze that juice. I don't want to keep pumping it full because it will flood. But contrary to what people think, it's as long as you have a proper working addy and your battery is putting out some good power, it's not as prone to flooding as you might think. You get used to just topping it off. I mean, that's what I do, is I take a couple vapes, I hit it, puts out the equivalent of probably a half a drop of liquid. The drops are very small, what you might get out of one of those oil, or almost what you probably get out of one of these pipette ends. So yeah. You don't have to take huge drags off of it, or huge vapes, pulls, whatever. I mean, it's a pretty tight little unit. Now, I'm going to show you. I'm going to tear this thing down. Give myself a good vape first. I'm going to tear it down on camera. I probably won't be able to reassemble it on camera because the feed tube that connects the main body, the bottle, to the top can be a little tricky to put on the nipple. I said nipple.